so far. They all seem to dovetail into everything that we've been focusing on at our local site. I work with the Fairfax County Nurse Family Partnership. We just started the program 2 years ago. We're a relatively new site. I've been a nurse for 28 years. Actually, I'm a local girl. I started down the street at Children's Hospital, and I've been working with kids and pregnant women ever since. And I was really lucky about 20 years ago to start working as a home visitor on a home visiting program based on Dr. Old's research, and I was hooked from there because I was never so excited as a nurse to be able to work with clients and get to see everyday improvements and benefits that were so direct and so quick and so immediate. As a home visitor, I mean, he makes it sound like we're a little bit of magicians and we have magic wands, and I do believe that nurses are awesome and we are magicians in many ways. But in reality, the day-to-day experience of being a home visitor with these clients is that we're there in the home talking with them about their daily concerns and educating them about how to be prepared for parenting and pregnancy and the arrival of the new child. Becoming pregnant, let me step back for a second, I'm sorry. One of our clients are typically pretty young. In Fairfax County, the average age is 24. We do have young teens and we have some older moms. The average income is about $10,500, and in Fairfax County, as you know, that does not go very far. They are all first-time moms, and we try to engage with them about halfway through or at the end of the beginning of the second trimester, as soon as we possibly can to develop that relationship. We learn a lot about different theories. One that I particularly love is self-efficacy theory. Albert Bandura, he talks about when people succeed in accomplishing tasks, it makes them more confident and it makes them want to step out and try more things. And I really think that when women become pregnant of all ages for the first time, it's a huge learning, teaching moment for them. They're going to be learning a new task that none of us, no matter how much education we've had, are really prepared for it. It's this great teaching moment to teach them how to kind of take charge of their lives. And I've seen that a lot with new moms, is that this is the first moment they really feel responsible and being reliant and protective of not just themselves, but finally somebody else. And so we're, as nurses, stepping in to help teach them some skills that they're really ready to hear about and really ready to grasp onto. And I don't see that is any different than the population in my suburban middle-class neighborhood of mothers who were in their 30s when they were first pregnant and desperate for information. So you can imagine as being, I was 34 when I had my first child, and I was just as desperate and hungry for info. Being a teen or a 20-year-old, they're really ripe and eager for that information. And we believe that the clients are really the expert in their own life, so we look to them to decide what information they'd like to learn about. Of course, they're always very anxious about labor and delivery. How am I going to manage this pain? What is that going to be like? When the baby comes home, they want to know, why is she crying? How can I get her to stop crying? Am I feeding her enough? But then, other than those obvious logistics, there are lots of other topics that we talk about. I did bring Sylvia here with me today. She was a good sport. We've been on the metro and in cars all day. And she's 8 months pregnant, so give her a round of applause. And I wasn't kidding when I said, Sylvia, it makes me look good. She already parents her 3 younger brothers and a cousin who lives with her. So in some ways, she already knows how to change diapers and deal with babies. But she had questions about how do you rein in a 3-year-old who usually is jumping on us in the middle of a home visit. How do you deal with family dynamics? She is low income. She's experienced some traumas and hard things in her life, and so we've talked about those things. We've talked about the things that she wants to address, in addition to some things that I've suggested to her. We kind of work hand in hand in deciding what kinds of things we want to work on and focus on. And there are moments of crisis when other things have stressed you out that have nothing to do with your pregnancy, but other things going on in the family. And we're there kind of as a team to talk about getting her through that. We have some amazing results already for the 2 years that we've been seeing clients. And I got some statistics this morning from our office that our premature birth rate for clients who've been participating in the program is 9.8%. The state rate is 12.6%. Our low birth rate is 5.7%, but the Virginia state rate is 13.5%. So I assume as we continue doing that, we'll be seeing lower birth rate, lower preterm rates. Now, why is that? I mean, I'm still scratching my head. I think it is because the nurses are magicians, and that support, and I'm going to keep pushing that line. That support and that role and that relationships help them feel more supported. I do know a big part of it is I am educating them about preterm labor. I am pushing them to go to the ER if there's a concern that they might have, downplayed. But I think there's a magic part of it too that maybe we need to still tease out with research, or maybe not. But our clients do better medically. The children have a 97% immunization rate. We have a 97% breastfeeding initiation rate. I go out to the homes as soon as they get home from the hospital, and I start helping them with breastfeeding and latching and positioning, because I know as a labor and delivery, ex-labor and delivery nurse, it's really hard those first weeks, and I want to make that happen for them. So these kinds of things are the things that we do in the home. And then we're open to veering the course in different directions based on what they would like to ask us, what they want information about. We're very flexible. We're very fly by the seat of the pants sometimes. I never know what my day is going to look like from day to day because their lives change constantly, and I want to accommodate what's going on with them. But it's very education focused. We're always teaching. Nurses are really teachers, just on a more one-to-one level. And that's all I really want to say. I do want to say that the first time I ever did home visiting with the first program I worked with, every single client of mine said, I want to be a good parent, and I was abused. I mean, it was no coincidence that a lot of these people who came voluntarily to this program had experienced abuse or trauma in their own life, and they said, I want to do something different. I just don't know what that different thing looks like. And can you show me what this looks like? I mean, they were really desperate for that information. They were very clear they knew they wanted to do something different, and they were so eager for that information. Every parent I work with, every pregnant mom I work with, and the dads that I get to work with too, want to be a good parent. There's no doubt. There's nobody really who gets pregnant and thinks, I'm just going to screw this up. I'm just going to do this half-assed because, what the heck, who cares? Everyone, once they realize they're pregnant, they are so committed to figuring out what the best way to do this is. They just don't know what that looks like, and they may not have the books or the resources or the way to reach out to get that information. But everyone I've ever worked with has said to me, what do I need to do? Let's do this together. I want this to look different from my own experience. They're desperate to change that pattern. And we know that when these kids are raised with less stress, they go on to be much healthier adults based on what you guys have alluded to already. We're starting as medical people to recognize that and look at that. It's slowly starting to filter into the medical profession that trauma in childhood, abuse in childhood affects not only your mental well-being, but your physical well-being. So, and I see that firsthand every day in the clients I work with. So, would you like to say anything? You don't have to if you don't want to. She was so brave to come like I said, she's 8 months pregnant. And this was a long trip on the metro for us, and I told her she didn't have to speak, but either one of us would be happy to answer questions when it's questioned.
It's fine now.
Okay.
Does anybody have any questions for Beth or Sylvia? With their experience in the program.
Yes.
Can I ask Sylvia if your nurse practitioner is telling the truth?
Yes, she is.
And what part of the truth really rang out most true for you? What about your practitioner that she said she tried to do with you is the most important to you? Or anything
The
that's
most important to me is because I don't want my child to go through everything I went through. I want my child to have a better life, teach her how to be good, I didn't finish school, but I'm trying to go back to school after I'm done, after she's born. I want her to have a better life. That's basically.
Thank you.
So it's a she.
Yes.
Inclusion with social workers in the program at all, or is it completely nurse-driven?
So the nurses are the regular home visitors, and we're also case managers, in that if we identify that there's mental health issues or concerns that could use a referral for further counseling, we do that if they're interested and open, and that's limited by what county resources we have. Which Fairfax County has great social services, but even we find we have wait lists and limits to bilingual counselors. So we involve mental health when we can. I do find that part of this job I end up being a de facto counselor in many ways, which, you know, part of our job is to go back and get the support and resources to make sure we're being appropriate with clients. We do a lot of screening for mental health to make sure that we're getting them the right resources. And then, of course, we have social workers that help us deal with, you know, insurance issues and clothing and housing. You know, we're lucky in Fairfax County, we do have a lot of resources. So did you mean social work in terms of mental health? Or
I just meant, I mean, in general,
yeah.
whether or not you, like, because I mean, social workers are more than just that, I mean, as you know.
Yes, yes.
I just didn't know if they were involved in any of the process throughout your program. Like, do they refer, like, do you get referred by social workers? Like, do they refer, like,
Sometimes we
women
get referrals from social workers. We are employees of the health department, so we actually get a lot of our referrals from the health department.
okay.
That's my question was, where is the program housed? And is there a protocol for, you know, what you have to cover during the visits? So how is this? So you just, I assume you just go and ask your her and then say,
Yes.
but there is a protocol, materials, or?
We have a ton of educational material that Nurse Family Partnership provides.
It's a heavy program.
Yes, and we are trusted as nurses to decide what we want to introduce when. So I have a curriculum, and sometimes clients will say to me, I don't know what I want to talk about. And I'll say, you know, it would be really good around this time. I want you to start learning about preterm labor, because if you were to go into labor now, the baby would have a lot of issues. So I want to review that with you. Is that okay? But a lot of times I walk in and they say, we need to talk about topic X, Y, and Z, and then I follow their lead. And I have tons of resources developed by Nurse Family Partnership to bring to the home visits. Now, we're based in the health department, but all of our home visits are done in the home. And as a nurse, that's really a fantastic experience, because I get to see, you know, we're not just looking at the individual, we're looking at her environment and what's going on in the home and their skills and what's important to them. I walk into Sylvia's room, the room is always neat, there's a candle burning because she likes the nice scent, and I can tell about her that she's very organized and neat. I walk into other people's homes and there's chaos and there's 5-day-old food in the sink, and I see that there's some organizational and cleaning issues. And so I learn a lot about the client by seeing them in the home and seeing them in their environment. So we work in the health department, we go out to the homes, though, to the clients to meet them at their place. Yes?
So my question is about enrollment. So do the clients find the program, or does the program find the clients? And is there a waiting list? Like, how difficult is that process to be matched up?
It's a little bit of both. We're really lucky in Fairfax County that we do prenatal and pregnancy testing in the health department. And so once they need a financial counselor, if they're determined to be financially eligible, they are referred to our program. It's a voluntary program. That's very important, though, so we call them, tell them a little bit about it, and if they're interested, we sign them up. I know in different parts of the country there's a little more struggle. I don't know if you want to speak to that. Or, you know, different places have different issues in trying to enroll clients. You can speak to that because you're not in your head. But we really have no problems enrolling clients. We're almost full to capacity, and I think we would even love to have more nurses funded to increase our program. So we could easily find more clients to enroll. And we do public, Nurse Family Partnership puts out all kinds of PR. We put up posters in the health department, we put up posters in the WIC offices, we put posters up in lots of different places. that pregnant women might see, that they can call themselves and enroll themselves, and then in our health department, we give people a call and invite them to join. Yes?
Do you have, is your time exclusively devoted to working in the program, or do you have some regular responsibilities in terms of regular nursing?
So right now, all I do is nurse-family partnership. And because I'm funded a little differently than the rest of the health department, I'm not allowed to work in some of the other things. When I was in the other part of the health department, I would get called to do a measles emergency or the Ebola case I worked on a little bit. But then once I became a nurse-family partnership, because we're funded by the grant through ACA, in our site, other sites aren't necessarily funded that way. I'm only allowed to do NFP, which is fine by me, so. Yes?
How long postpartum do you continue to work with clients?
So the clients graduated at 2 years. So if we enroll them about halfway through the pregnancy, they'll be in the program for 2.5 years. And we'd like them to stay the whole 2 years. I always introduce the program by saying, you stay for as long as it's useful for you. Because I don't want them to feel obligated when you're signing somebody up to agree to something for 2.5 years. I'm sure those clients are thinking, oh my God, what am I getting myself into? What if I wouldn't like this lady, after a couple of weeks and she's got to come for 2 more years? So, we do occasionally have people drop out, but our goal is to get them to stay for the whole 2 years. And the focus on that for the first 2 years is because those first 2-3 years of that infant's life are really crucial. That's where all the brain development is happening. The hardest part of parenting is that first couple of years when they're little. We've been answering too many questions.
No, it has been wonderful, but Representative Butterfield is here, so as you know, I'm interrupting everything.
Yes.
Thank you.